In this video, we're going to be talking about what is emotional maturity. And if you missed my last video, go back and watch that first. And it's talking about, are you emotionally immature? But this is where we want to get to. We want this to be the norm in our life. But what does it mean to be emotionally mature? It simply means having reached a certain stage of growth in terms of your self-awareness, your relationship with your emotions, your ability to manage those big feelings, and your understanding and empathy for other people. Being aware of how your words and your actions affect those around you, that is emotional maturity. So the hard part in this is we are not born emotionally mature. It's something we have to learn and we have to grow in. And there's many things in life that can sometimes cause us to delay in our emotional growth, but we can all get there once we are aware. And part of that awareness is understanding, what does that even look like? The other thing that we do not suddenly become emotionally mature in is our experience of salvation, of becoming a Christian. And sometimes that's what we're taught in the church. Like once we become a Christian, we don't have to work on anything anymore. That is simply not true. Although there's many areas that we are transformed in, there's a lot of practical work we still need to do. Because really emotionally, we're going to be the same person before salvation as after. That is just the beginning part of our healing journey. So we all fall somewhere along the continuum of emotional maturity. And your spot on that continuum is not necessarily tied to your chronological age. In fact, I think that's what's so confusing. Sometimes we'll see people that should be emotionally mature chronologically or biologically, and they're not. You can be 50 years old and be 20 years old emotionally. And so it depends more on your ability to self-reflect and grow. It depends on how you transform difficult experiences into wisdom and resilience. And resilience is defined as capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. So let's get down to what are the characteristics of an emotionally mature person, AKA a real adult. And we don't have a lot of these around, so I hope you'll join this group. It does take some work. Number one, an emotionally mature adult, they don't divide their life into compartments. Instead, they implement the example and the love of Jesus in all areas of their life. They look the same at work, at home, at church, and parenting. They're not one way at work and another way at home. Number two, an emotionally mature adult learns to have deep self-awareness, which means they have broken or are working on breaking the power of their past, whether that comes from family of origin, family hand-me-downs, patterns, pain from your family of origin, and how that maybe is impacting your current relationships and decisions. Or maybe there's some healing that needs to happen from past relationship hurts outside the family, friends, romantic relationships, even mentors or teachers. That is part of emotional maturity, is working on your healing. Number three, emotionally mature people have learned to handle conflict maturely, and they take responsibility for their feelings and their behavior. They don't blame other people. One of the hallmarks of emotional maturity is recognizing that your emotions belong to you, and they aren't anyone else's responsibility to change or to manage. You don't avoid difficult conversations, and you're able to repair relationships when you're emotionally mature. You can state your own beliefs and values without becoming angry or aggressive. Number four, an emotionally mature person has good boundaries. When you have healthy boundaries, you are clear about what is your problem and what is not your problem. That doesn't mean that you don't care about other people's experiences. You validate them, you empathize with them. It just means you don't step outside of your sphere of control and into somebody else's. When you have healthy boundaries, you release other people to manage their side of the relational fence, and you focus on managing your side. Number 5, emotionally mature people embrace something called radical acceptance. People with high levels of emotional maturity, they're adept at embracing reality and just working within it. An emotionally mature person also doesn't waste time trying to change other people because they know that they can't. Radical acceptance involves appreciating those things that you cannot control. Acceptance of things that we don't like or want is not a surrender or hopelessness. Radical acceptance is accepting. It's accepting reality for what it is, and then we can remain in a place of peace, even when things don't go as planned. Number 6, emotionally mature people know how to give and receive love. So they're givers and they can receive it also. So being able to both give and receive love is a hallmark of emotional maturity. And number 7, emotionally mature people rest. In fact, I call this a Sabbath rest. They regularly set aside time, a 24-hour period of time, to stop their work and practice resting, practice Sabbath. And even outside that 24 hours, they set healthy limits around your paid and unpaid work. This rhythm of stopping, resting, and time with God and His Word is a priority. Lack of care for self will always lead us back to defaults and old behaviors. Number 8, emotionally mature people understand that life is all about endings and losses, and that it will be full of change. And that is a fundamental part of how God works. So if you're emotionally mature, you learn to wait and trust on God in the midst of change and even difficulties and difficult seasons. So I want to end with this, a little something for you to hold on to. Emotional maturity has nothing to do with emotional perfection. We're not talking perfection here. In fact, I want your mantra to be this. Write it down, put it on your phone, say it daily. I'm not perfect, but I'm progressing.